So, is there a singular Thanksgiving memory that stands out for you, and can you share it with us?
No.
I plead the fifth, actually.
That's a very invasive question.
Absolutely not. How dare you? Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Banterly, the Gen Z podcast about pop culture, media, and everything in between. My name is Suha.
And my name is Aidan, and welcome back, everybody.
Today, we have kind of a special themed episode. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, so let's get started with our question of the day. What is your take on Thanksgiving? Do you love it? Do you like it? Or do you find it a little bit complicated?
I think I like it. I think the Thanksgiving meal itself is not, my favorite thing overall.
Controversial.
I feel like I'm just not super ooh, holiday season cheer. I love the vibes and the energy and the fall crispness and everyone coming together for Thanksgiving. It's a beautiful way to connect with family and friends, but just an excuse to eat food and go home, it's always fun.
I enjoy it. My family doesn't celebrate any of the big winter holidays that come after Thanksgiving. So it's always been kind of a fun entry into a festive season that we get to observe and partake in. I've just associated it kind of with relaxing, which is definitely not what happens when you're in the kitchen on that day.
It really is. I think that's what I've turned Thanksgiving into. It's very chill, very low key.
That stuff in turkey that makes you sleepy.
Tryptophan. Tryptophan.
Today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the 3 F's of Thanksgiving. We're going to start by talking about family, then dive into friends, and finally, of course, food.
On the topic of family then, what is Thanksgiving like with your family?
Sort of like I was just saying, very low key. It's never been a huge to-do, I don't think. When I was growing up, we would always get prepared food from a local grocery store and have a sit-down meal. We would, set the table and get pies. So it was special. I can't remember a time when we cooked ourselves, unless it was going over to a grandparent's house who cooked. And I think that was just part of, my parents wanting it to be as easy as possible, which as I grow up and have people over for dinner, I'm like, you know what? They were onto something with that. But now with my parents divorced and living in separate states, I've gone to St. Louis every Thanksgiving since then, just because more of my high school friends are in town. So now we've just been going out to eat at a restaurant. So that's what I'll be doing on Thursday, going out to eat. My dad also said he's going to have some prepared, Thanksgiving food at home if we were ever just wanting to nosh on some stuffing on Friday morning. So we'll have kind of the best of both worlds, but catch us at Bricktops in St. Louis on Thursday. And it's a family favorite of ours, and they have a good little Thanksgiving meal. How about you? What is Thanksgiving like for your family?
I actually have not spent Thanksgiving with my entire family maybe 5 years. I know I haven't gone to my parents for Thanksgiving for at least the last 3. But I feel like the year before, my brother wasn't there. So all 4 of us have not been together for Thanksgiving in a while. But even when we have been, it's very chill for us. There's only 4 of us in my direct family. We don't really have much extended family in the States. And so there was a time when we were younger in Minnesota that we'd do large potluck dinners with other Sudanese families. And I remember a few when I was really young in New Mexico. But when it's just the 4 of us, we're really chill. We'll do a roast chicken because none of us like turkey. My mom and I love just picking some of the random sides and making them. And then my brother will always toss a salad because he's useless otherwise. But when we're not all together, we'll generally FaceTime for a half hour or so. I think I always just get a tinge of I feel like I miss my family extra that day when I see all the huge extended family gatherings on Instagram. But since both me and my brother live on the East Coast and are unwilling to do the 6-hour flight for 3-day trip to California where our parents live, he will come stay with me for Thanksgiving. And we've done this now. We've only done it once. We're doing it again this year, so I'm excited. And it's a new little tradition. Last year, we just ordered food in Thanksgiving night, and then we went to a Friendsgiving the next night with some of my grad school friends. I'm trying to force him this year to go to the Macy's parade with me, and we'll probably like FaceTime our parents from there or send them fun pictures. But yeah, I always enjoy when my brother comes to stay with me here because it's like we weirdly get on a little bit better when our parents aren't around. um, no shade to my parents. I love them so much. But him and I are just like, I think we have a good boundary together of like, when he's here, if he wants to go do something, I don't need to go with him. We have a good relationship of knowing when to leave each other alone. But I'm excited for him to come stay with me. He's a senior in college now. So yeah, he'll be moving to Philly after he graduates. So maybe if I stay in the city, we'll continue our tradition.
Oh, wait, that's so cute. I've noticed that a lot of siblings get closer as they grow up. So that's nice. But one of the main differences I heard from you, you cook. So I want to know, like, what was your least favorite thing to cook? Like, what took the most work? What was just like all this work and it doesn't even taste good? Like, any recipes you found that you were like, oof, we will never do this again.
I remember I like it, but like I just thought it was too much work for like little payoff was green bean casserole, which is weirdly something my mom really likes to make. And I always just was like, this is too much work. It's silly. Like we hardly eat it. Cause we're also like, we always overcook, right? Especially when it's just 4 people. Cause what has happened now that like we don't live together is we'll do like a makeup Thanksgiving sometimes where we'll just make some sides a random day that we're home over the winter holidays and like call that fake Thanksgiving just because we want an excuse to eat stuffing and like mashed potatoes all at once or whatever. But my mom's liked green bean casserole, and I honestly just hate being in a kitchen with her because she just like hovers. And their current house is a really small kitchen, so she gets away with hovering even more than usual. And I think she still doesn't fully trust me around an oven, which I don't know where that distrust came from because like I've never messed up, at least to my knowledge. I don't know, maybe if I was 6 years old and I accidentally burnt something, like that's one thing. But she still doesn't trust me around like a fire. Um, so it's always a little bit difficult just like being in the kitchen with her generally.
Wow. Yeah, I can't imagine all my family cooking together. So kudos to you guys.
No, oh, it's not all to I will like because then I can't stand like my dad in the kitchen just gets really bossy and he doesn't know what he's talking about. So it just is like incorrect statements with authority and he expects to be listened to. My brother, like I said, he's just there. It seems like we both generally spend Thanksgiving now with only one other person,
Yeah.
which I feel like when I tell that to people, sometimes they get weirdly sad for me, but I just don't really mind it. Like, I think I prefer just hanging out with my brother than I would to like a huge gathering where I know a lot of people get asked really invasive questions if they're around our age.
Yeah, my larger gathering is Christmas in Maine because my mom has more siblings and both her parents are alive and I have cousins over there. So that's my big one. So I get my fill of big family gatherings, but not in St. Louis.
It's a trifle. It's got all of these layers. First, there's a layer of ladyfingers, then a layer of jam, then custard, then beef sauteed with peas and onions, and then I just put some whipped cream on top. It's a trifle.
So we both don't do a traditional Thanksgiving, it seems, but do you do Friendsgivings, or are friends part of the holiday for you?
This is one of the reasons that I do, other than, seeing my dad and going home. But like I said earlier, most of my friends and people in my high school class do come home for Thanksgiving. So it is a bunch of mini reunions, one of them being Blackout Wednesday. If you don't know what it is, the night before Thanksgiving, that Wednesday, young folks and people go out in the town, the local bars and haunts, and drink and socialize. And in St. Louis, most people go to either Ballpark Village, which, no, not for me, or Soulard, which it's not my favorite place to go out in St. Louis, but I prefer it because the crowd brings more people from my past that I would be curious to see. A lot of people do it just to go out and drink, but I do it because I like seeing characters from past lives out and about, that some of them I run into people that I haven't seen since 2013, 2012, 2011, and earlier. So it's always like, oh my God, like Jane Doe, like, oh my God, how are you doing? So I already mentioned that Blackout Wednesday was something that I recently discovered. My first one was in 2022. But a common theme from this whole week was that after Blackout Wednesday, me and some of my friends would go over to this former classmate's house that we were not super close with, but we became super close this week. And it was just such a wonderful moment to 3 years before, even in high school, I could have never imagined that I would have been in John Doe's basement, hanging out with his friends and my friends. And that's what I loved about going to such a small high school, is that even though we weren't friends, we still knew each other and we had enough of a bond and a foundation to enjoy that. But oh my gosh, it was just thinking about it just makes me smile so much. It will go down as one of the best Thanksgivings, I think.
Yeah, I vaguely heard of Blackout Wednesday. I don't think I've never partaken, to my knowledge, but I also don't think it was like a huge community thing. I think it's interesting that you guys seem to almost have this unspoken agreement that if you want to see the folks but don't want to plan to see them, just be here, on this night. So that's kind of cool.
But other than that informal reunion, we do have formal high school reunions actually at the high school every year since we graduated, I think. Maybe like a young alum reunion. And so that'll be Friday evening. And then sometimes there's, class parties or whatnot happening. But this year, I'm doing my first turkey trot. I've never, ran Thursday, Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah, it's not fun.
You don't got to tell me.
My dad used to try and force us. There was a good 3 years. My dad was like, we're doing the turkey trot. And then we bullied him. It was a 3-1 majority eventually that got him to stop.
The Blackout Wednesday to early morning run just doesn't sound like it's going to be great, but I'm sleeping over at Banterly guest host Maya Shetty's house after Blackout Wednesday, and her family does the turkey trot every morning. So she was like, do it. And I was like, oh my God, sure. So I'm going to do it.
Godspeed. Godspeed. Oh my.
Thank you. Well, that's what I'm looking forward to when I go home. But what are you looking forward to in terms of friends in this holiday?
Yeah, I think for as long as we could make them work, Friendsgiving has just been a thing that we do. I remember, I think my first ones were probably junior, senior year of high school, where parents of my friends would be like, just have your friends over the day before or after Thanksgiving. And it's always really fun. The first Friendsgiving memories I have, which were like I said earlier, late high school. And we were all just at a friend's house who parents had insisted to have us all over. And I was so proud of whatever I had made. I actually don't remember what it was. And I was happy mostly because my mom had finally let me use the kitchen all by myself and wasn't hovering for the first time. This was a trend that would since return, as in every time I go home now. But it was a really fun dinner, just at my friend's basement, and he had a bunch of younger siblings who were really fun to hang out with. And we all kind of just were watching random old episodes on this TV and eating and picking away at the different food on the table. And now it's really interesting because so many of my friends in my grad program are international. I had to coach one of my friends earlier today in how to make a baked mac and cheese for a Friendsgiving she's going to with her specific cohort in the program. And that was really fun. And they seemed to get really excited because then I was talking to the person hosting that one yesterday, and she was telling me how she hadn't bought a turkey yet. And I was like, oh, don't do that. Just do a chicken. She's like, no, they're all international students. They've never done American Thanksgiving. We have to give them the whole experience.
I used to host my high school Friendsgivings when we were still in high school. And I can't, that was all fun and dandy when we were just in high school. But now that, working and stuff, it's a lot of work hosting people, especially it was 13 of us in the friend group. It was always fun, but I couldn't imagine hosting 13 people right now. Actually, I could. I don't know why I'm lying. I love hosting. I'm trying to lie, but no.
I know. It's I like hosting. I really do. It's just the coordination of it all. Because then I think with Thanksgiving too, there's specific expectations of what people are expected to bring. So not only do you as the host have to decide what to make, but then everyone's badgering you of what should I bring? What do you need? What can I do? And so it's just a very ill-oiled machine. And to the point of it's difficult now at this point in our lives of working. I went to one on Friday night, And because all the people who were there work in finance, which has like ungodly hours, and because of the craziness that was the end of the work week and everything, we sat down to eat at 11:15 p.m.
Oh no, no,
which
no,
is
no,
just like,
no.
which obviously then like I felt really bad for the like hosts who had made like meat dishes, because like no one was eating meat at 11:15 p.m. And it was just, yeah, it was a lot to just sit down for dinner at 11:15.
Oh my gosh. I would have been hangry. I would have had to go out and get some meals for myself, and then that would be my second dinner.
I love the holiday season. I love the holiday season. See you in spring, toes.
What do you look forward to? What do you crave on that day?
I mean, we always, even though it is prepared food and going out to restaurants, it's always traditional Thanksgiving food: the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, the turkey, the cranberry sauce, the green beans, a slew of pie flavors.
For me, it's typically like a mix of traditional Thanksgiving foods and then like some ethnically relevant foods that we typically won't eat until like Ramadan, because there are certain foods for some reason we just attribute to that time, but like as a special treat, we'll bring them out on our Thanksgiving table. Like asida, which is like a porridge dish that me and my dad really love. Food we eat most of the time, but sometimes like you just want that on your table too. But my signature dish that I do make every single year is a baked mac and cheese. It's like 4 or 5 years running now that if I don't make it at some point during the winter holiday season, I don't know what would happen to me. Luckily, I made it last week, so we're good, but I'll probably remake it again later.
That sounds so good. Is it a recipe you created yourself, or did you find the recipe?
I found the recipe and then I made like adjustments. And so yeah, it's just one that like I feel like I've perfected. I like make it like it's a kind of like a spicier baked mac and cheese because I really like pepper jack. And I really like red pepper flakes, so I'll usually throw those in there. When you go to your restaurant, like is it kind of a potluck style where you can keep loading up the plate? Like do you go till you're like stuffed, or do you kind of one plate and you're good?
It's not like a buffet type situation. You just get a plate of everything.
Is it enough?
Yeah, it is enough. I've never been one to like stuff myself for Thanksgiving or meals, and I try to be like, what is that called? Mindful eater. So it's never been like, oh, I'm going to eat so much today. It's just like, oh, I'm going to have dinner. So a very kind of boring answer.
Almost time. Almost time for turkey sandwiches. Almost time for turkey sandwiches.
Now that we're a little bit older, I wonder if people are a little bit more like ambivalent or like on Thanksgiving compared to holidays. What do you think?
Out of all my friends, I think I'm the most about it. I think a lot of my friends are super into it, and they have larger families than I do, and they have a lot of traditions that I just don't have. And so I think it's still alive and well in our generation. Just, I've always been on the side of it.
Yeah, I feel like when I was a kid, it felt like people were super into Thanksgiving. And I have some friends who certainly are. Like, if there's one holiday they know they're going back for, it's Thanksgiving. But generally, I feel like everyone's just waiting for Christmas. I don't know if also that attitude is just because, like, or my ambivalence towards it is because I don't have extended family in the States. And so I don't know if maybe, like, once me and my brother and each have our own families, maybe then it'll feel like more of a thing to, like, get our families together, bring our parents in who will be, like, grandparents at that point. So I think it's just that, like, it's just the core four right now and for us.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Like once my brother and I, if we ever do have children, what that vibe will be like. If I'll raise my kids with a lot of traditions and a big Thanksgiving.
I think I was more into Thanksgiving as a kid because it was just like even in school, right? But like now it's just like everyone's like, God, it's just 2 days off. Thank God. Like no one's caring much about why we have the 2 days off.
For sure, for sure. And speaking of school, do you have any childhood memories of celebrating Thanksgiving?
Yeah, but in like a really problematic way. In that my school, like, yeah, we did the plays about like how the Pilgrims introduced Thanksgiving to the Indians and da da da. Yeah, so not great looking back on it. And learning about it was certainly super problematic. Like, for some reason, the one thing that always sticks in my head is like the obsession with teaching us about maize and like corn and being like, wow, the Native Americans introduced this to the poor Europeans. So I'm really interested to know how that conversation looks in schools now. I'm sure certain parts of the country, it looks very similar to the one I had. Other parts, maybe it's moved past that, especially now that we have things like Indigenous Peoples Day instead of Columbus Day. It does feel like hard sometimes. I think if you think too much about like, hey, this is what we're celebrating, it feels like it's hard to reckon with the problematic start and like kind of answer the question of like, is it possible to move away from that and see it just as this day to give thanks? But I don't know. What about you? Was your elementary school experience kind of like that?
From what I can remember, I do remember having that Pilgrim and Indian conversation looking back on it, but I don't remember a whole lot. The biggest childhood memories I have associated with Thanksgiving is Grandparents' Day. At my elementary school was right before Thanksgiving, and that was when the grandparents would come in. There would be presentations, like a little breakfast, I think, and then we would have a performance, and each grade level would perform a song. And there was this song, oh my gosh. It was like the sixth graders would play it on the xylophones. And like every time I hear this song, it takes me back because every year we would hear it. And then sixth grade, we would be the ones playing it. It was Street Song. Do, 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 do. It was fun. And my grandparents in St. Louis would never miss it. And we would always get our pictures taken by the fireplace in the library. And then we go to their house after for a sleepover, and then that would be the beginning of Thanksgiving weekend. So I have very fond memories of that. I don't really remember a whole lot of the problematic stuff, if there was. I'm sure there was, because, oh my God, my school had an immigration play in second grade where we dressed up as immigrants. Ooh. So we can unpack that later. But
yeah, let's do that sometime.
There it is, Grum. Plymouth Rock.
What are all those clowns doing there?
Those aren't clowns, Grum. Those are Indians.
Well, what are they eating?
Well, they're eating Thanksgiving dinner. You know, turkey, gravy, crescent rolls, ambrosia, pies, green bean casserole, and maize.
We both have memories of like associating it with like giving thanks or like your grandparents. What does that gratitude then look like for you on Thanksgiving?
I think it is about gratitude just for the people in your life, whether it's my family, which I do look forward to seeing at Thanksgiving, but also my friends, because I've leaned on them the past few years, because I haven't spent a holiday with my full immediate family, mom, dad, brother, in maybe 4+ years. And this is going to be my first Thanksgiving and Christmas with my brother in 2 years, I think. So it'll be nice. And so without having, those core family members around all the time, at least your friends are there. And that's why I love Blackout Wednesday and Friendsgiving so much, among other things. But yeah, I love my friends. I love my family. And it's nice to have those moments with both of them.
I think the people in my life are what I'm most thankful for. And then getting to be in community with them over a really great meal is super fulfilling. I think that's why I generally Thanksgiving is just the day I know I'll miss my parents or my family.
It's a wonderful holiday at its core, despite
all the work that goes into it.
Exactly. Will work for you guys. Not a lot of work for us, but
they landed at Plymouth with a smile on the face. They said, we're your brothers from a faraway place.
Ending on a really fun, lighter note, let's do some rapid fire questions about this annual holiday. Starting off, what emotion do you associate with Thanksgiving?
Stress and anxiety.
Laughter. That's a new emotion.
Aw, that's cute. Turkey or chicken?
Chicken every day, but turkey on Thanksgiving.
Oh, chicken, 100%.
Favorite Thanksgiving side dish?
Mashed potatoes.
Stuffing.
Favorite Thanksgiving tradition?
Blackout Wednesday.
Black Friday.
Do you leave Thanksgiving dinner early for Black Friday?
I have in the past, but would not now.
I do not.
Best Black Friday deal?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever participated.
That's crazy. For me, it's any place that does a piercing deal.
What food would you kick off the Thanksgiving island?
Cranberry sauce.
Anything with yams for me. I love cranberry sauce. That's like my second favorite.
Ew.
No, you gotta have that homemade cranberry sauce, not the gelatinous canned one.
I don't. The way it looks is just unnatural. It's so gross. Okay, lastly, we're gonna play a quick Kiss, Marry, Kill. Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving.
Well, I'm gonna marry Christmas, kiss Thanksgiving, and then kill Halloween.
I'll kiss Thanksgiving, marry Halloween, kill Christmas. I'm so sorry, I just don't celebrate.
Oh, very valid. Very valid. I just like it because it's close to my birthday. So that's my reason.
Real. Fair enough.
I know, filming this has really made me more excited than I already was. I'm excited. It's made me also very hungry.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, someone bring the stuffing now.
Literally. Bring out the cranberry sauce. Wink, wink.
I hope everyone listening has a happy Thanksgiving. And more importantly, a happy Black Friday deals shopping. Listen, I'm anti-capitalism, but when a deal is singing to me, a deal is singing to me.
Hey, maybe I'll check it out this year.
Let us know what your Thanksgiving tables look like and share your thoughts with us. Banterly at immigrantllypod.com and engage with us on our socials at Immigrantly Media on Instagram and at Immigrantly Podcast on TikTok.
Banterly is produced by Shay Yu, written by us, the co-hosts Suha, Musa, and Aidan Taylor. The executive producer and editorial review is done by Sadia Khan.
Our sound designer and editor is Lou Raskin. The Banterly theme music is by Simon Hutchinson, and additional music is by Epidemic Sound. See y'all next week.